Dolphins and the Browns. Cleveland wins this game 31-6. Yikes. I think the Browns have a phenomenal defense. Maybe the best in the NFL. But 31-6, that's a tough showing for the Miami Dolphins. There's no way around it. But let's talk about Cleveland. Let's talk about the top 5 graded players that we had in this game because they played very well, like you would expect, especially on that defensive side of the ball. Safety Ronnie Hickman Jr. at the top of the list with an elite 92.3. Edge rusher Myles Garrett with an 85.5. Edge rusher Alex Wright an 84.3. Defensive tackle Mason Graham a 79.0. Linebacker Devin Bush a 78.0. And then Dylan Gabriel in this game 47.6. They just didn't have to do a lot in this game in order for them to win it. On Miami side of things, defensive end Bradley Chubb with an 80.4. Safety Ashton Davis a 75.8. Linebacker Jordan Brooks a 72.7. Linebacker Terrell Dodson with a 66.6. Offensive tackle Larry Borum with a 65.2. And the Tua Tagovailoa in this game a 28.6. My stat that told the story here, Dalton, Miami doesn't have any threats. They don't. I love Jalen Waddle. He's not enough for this offense. To me, if you stop Devon Achane, you stop the Miami Dolphins. That's pretty much it. And Achane even had a big explosive play in this game.
Yeah.
And still.
One's not going to be enough.
But right? you know what I'm saying? If you stop Devon Achane, what do the Miami Dolphins have without Tyreek Hill? And I pointed this out a couple of weeks ago when Tyreek Hill got hurt. The EPA per play throwing to Tyreek Hill versus anyone else was so starkly different for this passing offense that taking Hill away from him, they don't have anything. Tua is still very predictable and really struggled throwing over the middle of the field in this game. 2 of his 3 turnover-worthy plays. Did he get 3 turnover-worthy plays?
I believe it was 3.
Or maybe it was 2. Either way, I should say, over the middle of the field, it's one of those spots where he just goes.
No, he did have 2. It was both of those.
Both of those.
3 interceptions, 2 turnovers.
2 of them were turnover plays. It's plays where he hikes it, has his eyes go one way, but the whole point is I'm going to have my eyes go this way, the defense is going to flow this way, I'm going to look back over the middle, and boom, the ball is going to come out immediately because I know what I'm seeing pre-snap. That's the whole point of what's going on offense for them. At least that's what I think that they're trying to execute here. And Tua keeps trying to execute these plays, but defenses are no longer falling for it. They're like, no, this is what's going to happen. And there were too many times where defenders were perfectly in place for exactly where they knew the ball was going, whether he was looking there the whole time or not. This offense just does not have a lot of threats. Tua right now, he is at a career low average depth of target of 2.7 yards. It's not explosive. It's not a threat. And if you stop Devon Achane, that is all the Miami Dolphins have at this point.
Honestly, for me, even simpler than that, and this has been a bigger problem with the Dolphins even when healthy and in past years, when it was starting to be rumored that it was going to be pouring rain and possible 35, 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds or whatever, the Browns are winning this game. The Dolphins have never been built to get through conditions like that, because if you're going to get through a pouring rain game and it's going to be ugly weather, cold weather, whichever you prefer, you got to be good in the trenches. You got to be physical, and this is a team built on speed. And let's just say it for what it is. Tua's never succeeded in those conditions. In cold weather games, in rainy games, and things like that. He just can't throw the football through all that. So then you look at the Browns and you go, yeah, they have Dylan Gabriel, so it's essentially pretty close to the same thing, right? But at least they've gotten the run game going a bit with Quinshon Judkins. And you have this defense that's by far the best unit on the field of either of these teams. I didn't think 31-6 would happen. I had the Browns winning. I didn't think it'd be 31-6, but this is the type of game the Browns are going to win. And then you look when you're trying to, and listen, every other Friday in St. Pete used to be like this. You know how it rains every 4 hours down there and it's pouring all the time. You go into one of these pouring rain games, right? And you go, sometimes you're looking at it as a coach and just going, well, every play you don't fumble is a good play, even if we get nothing on it. If we have to punt it away and just keep playing back and forth.
That's not a very good bar.
Well, no, but in those games where it's just torrentially downpouring and the weather's awful, you're just looking at it going, which one of these two teams is going to screw it up first? That's what you're looking at in games like that. And look, it was the Dolphins in this game. 4 turnovers that led to 21 Browns points. This game ended at the Tyson Campbell pick 6. It was 17-3. That game was over. You shut it off at 17-3.
Yeah.
Dolphins fumbled 6 times. They're lucky they recovered 5 of them. And on top of it, they had 103 penalty yards. I mean, they just weren't. One team, a lot of times in these games, especially with two bad teams, when you get these ugly weather games, one team is just going to screw it up more than the other, and the scale was way one way.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins were when that weather report was announced that was going to be what Sunday looked like. The Browns were winning this game.
It favored the Browns.
It's heavily favored, especially with their defense. And again, a team for the Dolphins that's always been built on speed, you lose that in those conditions.
So the Browns defense, that was my most impressive. 90.1 overall defensive grade. I mean, they remain one of the most impactful defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL with how they have played throughout the first 7 weeks of this season. 84.0 run defense grade, which, like I said, I think they very clearly were saying we're going to hunt the middle of the field, and we're going to make sure that Devon Achane doesn't beat us.
But he couldn't throw it more than 15 yards in those conditions.
Right.
He just can't.
Right. And so they did a better job hunting, given what that game was always going to be. And so hats off to Cleveland once again for having a great defensive performance.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Shout out their defensive line specifically. Just Mason Graham, highest graded game of the year for him. Myles Garrett, great as always. Alex Wright. I mean, you just got this defensive line. Shelby Harris, Malik Collins, just monsters. It's such a problem playing the Browns, even despite their offensive struggles, especially going into Cleveland to face this defensive line. They can give anybody trouble.